Hello and welcome to the good, the bad and the ridiculous from day one of the third test here at the SCG. I'm Melinda Farrell. Joining me is the wonderful Bharat Sundaresan. Pranjal Sethi nominates for ridiculous the drop catches. Ugh.
Well, I'm not surprised. Rishabh Pant, poor guy. One day he's a hero, one day everybody goes after him. That's really been the story of his life. There's just one section who just thinks he should play every match because they think he is the superhero who's going to win a lot of matches for India. There's this other section who thinks he should never play for India, or, well, he should play for India, but he will get criticized every time he plays for India. Test cricket, why isn't Wriddhiman Saha playing? I think the real Rishabh Pant lies somewhere in between. He's neither a superhero nor is he a supervillain. Definitely not. At times with Ashwin, it looks like he's guessing. He is guessing. I mean, the batsman is guessing as well, but he's guessing as well. If you look at the drop catch, guys, I think you'll notice that his hands almost like come together at the last moment. It's almost like, oh, okay, I didn't expect it to go that way.
And they moved across as if he was expecting the ball to go the other way.
Yeah, I mean, you'll always hear when batsmen talk about playing spin, do you read it of the pitch or do you read it of the hand? I think Rishabh Pant reads Ashwin off the hands when he is keeping, which I guess can lead to what we saw. But the second one, I don't know what happened there.
Well, let me just bring in another nomination here from Srivatsan, who nominates ridiculous Pant claiming the catch, only to be shown to the world it was not. Will Pucovski in the press conference, he was very, very polite and charming, got a little D in there. He said, he thought he must have taken it when he claimed it. And then he said, maybe I've just got too much faith in people. Words to that effect. A little dig there.
The second one, when the catch was taken and Rishabh Pant was claiming it, Mel was looking at me and going, take that, that's my Rishabh Pant taking what she thought at that point was a diving catch. I don't think he was convinced. Whether he claimed it or not, he never looked convinced. And for me, what was really even more interesting was India's reaction to the first replays. And Will Pucovski's reactions.
He thought he was a goner.
He was gone. He started walking off. He was shaking his head.
And Siraj was very excited.
Yeah, Siraj hugged Rishabh Pant not once but twice. And Rishabh Pant still did not look very, very convinced. But then, for some reason, when they showed the last replay, there wasn't a show of disappointment from the Indians. They almost were like, yeah, I guess it wasn't a catch. And who was the first one to leave the huddle? Ashwin, of course. So I don't think he was too chuffed about Rishabh Pant's drop. He did go at the start of the next over, and sort of console Rishabh Pant, but it was a pretty firm pat on his back. Ashwin will agree it was pretty firm.
He's one of those players who inspires that hero or villain thing. If he ends up coming out here and scoring a century, then all of a sudden he'll be in people's good books again. And if he has a great keeping game, then he'll be in the good books again. I'm kind to everyone.
Yes, you are. You're way too kind to way too many people who don't deserve your kindness.
Amanpreet Sabharwal nominates as ridiculous Will Pucovski's luck today. He deserves it though. Which is a point. Yeah, he was. He could have been out 3 times.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He didn't let that get to him, even though, in particular, with the Pant drop off Siraj, and that whole run out, what could have been a run out thing, seemed to be quite ridiculous. And he nearly paid a big price for watching the ball and not listening and paying attention so much to MARNUS, although it did look like there was another run in it once he had that fumble. But he does deserve it, doesn't he? And he seems like an absolutely delightful young man. There I am being nice to everyone. I mean, that baby face probably hides something very sinister. Who knows? But he's had such a rough time. What I really like about him too, his openness about mental health and the whole concussion issue is really refreshing and goes against so much of that rubbish, that hard-nosed. I can't imagine him being in the Australian team of several years ago. I hope that we will see him playing international cricket for a long time to come.
Oh, he's a delightful batsman to watch. He is what do you call a touch batsman. The first run, just go and watch the first run he scores in Test cricket. It almost feels like the ball stops there, and then he kind of plays it, maneuvers it towards fine leg, and that's his class. That's the grace. I've seen a lot of him in Sheffield. He always comes to Adelaide and scores a lot of runs. Double 100 this time. He scored 100 last year, I think, or 2 years ago. But the thing about him is just the time he has on the ball. We've heard so much about it, whether it's Mark Waugh, Damian Martin, Rohit Sharma. You always speak about time on the ball. But with Will Pucovski, especially when he plays it through the onside, just watch him the second time around, or the highlights here, it almost feels like the ball stops and then he's like, okay, I'm going to play it there. And that's the amount of time he has. And like you said, bad luck has followed him around. So come on, you can't hold it against him today.
Arpan nominates the rain for every category except good. Is it always like this in Sydney? Then forget Amazon rainforest. Sydney is the place to go. To be fair, a year ago at the Sydney test, we did have, this was the bushfire test, where there were raging bushfires and smoke everywhere. But other than that, I think I've been at every test here since the 12-13 or 13-14. And I have spent an awful lot of time in rain delays. Look, it happens at Sydney a lot more than probably any other ground I think I've been to. And I live in Birmingham. On the subject of rain also, Pradeep suggests ridiculous tea break on a rain-affected day. Now that is actually one of the most ridiculous things in Test cricket. But what I will say is, throughout COVID, I did say I was never going to complain about rain delays again. And so I actually kind of felt good today about the ridiculousness of the whole tea break situation, because it gives us all something to moan about. And isn't that great? Akash Bang nominates for bad the slow snooze fest that is the pitch after the spicy Adelaide and MCG surfaces. This is a huge dip. It is very slow for a day one pitch. Even though the SCG is renowned for being a bit slower, that definitely was slower than what you might expect. And I don't even know if it's going to turn much. I don't know. There was a bit of a turn there today, but they've had he's hardly had any sunshine, the curator here. So it's been a really difficult preparation for him.
To beat India, these are the kind of pitches you need in Australia, because that way, see, your bowlers, especially the bowling attack that Australia has, you know how to take wickets on these pitches, even if they might seem flat to start with. If you win the toss and bat like Australia have and put a big score, which they look like they will, then you have the bowling attack to take wickets, because you know how to take wickets on these pitches, rather than have a pitch where you bring the opposition in, whether it's India or any team, but especially India with their bowling attack. It kind of like you're kind of giving them a way in to the contest. And you could see with the fields, like with Ashwin, the leg slip wasn't in place till very, very late in Steve Smith's innings today. So you could see that the Indians had to adapt, and the ball was coming on nicely, but not enough. But it could be one of those pitches, though, which into day 3 might not become a rank turner or won't bring the bowlers in, but scoring runs and taking wickets both might become a little difficult. We'll wait and watch.
It's the sort of pitch where someone like Pat Cummins could really come into his own, because he is that bowler who can make stuff happen even if the pitch is just offering nothing. So I'll be keen to see Pat Cummins bowl. He could be a real game changer on a pitch like this. Be kind at the oldest monk. What a nice handle. He nominates ridiculously good ground staff and Smith so far. Ground staff, great. They need a umbrella, like that thing in Birmingham that takes like 33 seconds or whatever to get out there and covers the whole pitch, so that you don't have to watch two men carrying leaf blowers just blow dry. I mean, I thought maybe Bharat and I should give them our hair dryers, because obviously they're very powerful.
Very powerful. With Steve Smith, you can always see it in his eyes. The eyes have it, really. We've been watching him in the nets at the MCG and the SCG. He has been going after the spinners a lot. That one shot he played early in his innings when he jumped out and hit Ashwin straight over the top, that's pretty much what he's been working at in a way. in the nets, and you can just see that the way he's been tapping the bat. I would like if this was not as firm a pitch as it is. If I was the curator, I would run out and say, "Calm down, Steve. Like calm down. Like yeah."
Dusty nominates for ridiculous. MARNUS waving his arm around like a noodle flapping from a flagpole.
Noodle flapping from a flag. That
is that like one of those noodle?
Oh, those things.
The things that go.
Outside those car service centers.
Yeah.
Oh,
that actually is.
That's a good one.
That's actually a really good representation
It is.
of MARNUS most of the time. The rock star Viv Jonty suggests bad RAHANE'S captaincy for not bowling SAINI and JADEJA early. I mean, come on, he wasn't going to open with them.
But with SAINI, I think he's been given a specific plan. Just see the last over he bowled of the day. They brought him back on, bowling round the wicket, bumpers at Steve Smith. I'm not saying that's the only thing he's going to do, but that's pretty much his role, to bowl with a slightly older ball. And of all the pitches in Australia, and especially here, if the rains stay away, we might get to see some reverse swing, and SAINI could probably do an Umesh Yadav-like job, bowl late or late spells where maybe he gets it to reverse and makes things happen. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see if the rains stay away, if that happens.
JADEJA, I mean, look,
yeah.
He's not there really as we've said, he's not there as a bowling all-rounder as much as he's there to shore up the batting and add to India's batting. What for you was the goodest thing today?
I think goodest thing is something we haven't spoken about. I think it's quite all. I'm sure the clip's gone viral now. Mohammad Siraj, getting emotional, breaking down when the national anthem played. He was asked about it at the end of the day's play, and he was just honest. He just said, I just started thinking about dad. Poor guy, lost his dad. He couldn't even go back for the funeral at the start of this tour. And he spoke about how his dad's dream was always him playing Test cricket. And there's something about the national anthem playing and you representing your country. So, I think that for me is a clear-cut winner for good.
What for you was the baddest thing about today?
The rain, to an extent, because I was really looking forward to the cricket after all that's been happening behind the scenes in the last few days. And we got to see some really good cricket, even the 55 overs we got. So maybe if the rain had stayed away, maybe we could have got a little more and the game would have progressed more. And, my biggest concern is, what if there's day 5? I don't know what day 5s are like, Mel. It's been 2 years since I saw day 5.
And your winner for ridiculousest is...
Rishabh Pant's wicket keeping. I'm sorry, Rishabh, but I think it will be an overwhelming winner, and I'm sure even Melinda Farrell will agree with that.
Yes, I'm afraid that was a bit ridiculous. Who knows? We might be saying ridiculously good for something, Rishabh, later on. He's not the villain. He's not the hero. You're a big hero for coming and doing this with me. Thank you very much.
Always a hero. I'm also like Rishabh Pant. Neither hero, neither villain, somewhere in between, I guess.
I can't think of anyone less like Rishabh Pant than you. We'll see you tomorrow.